Hello everyone, we are from Group 5, which consists of three persons, which is Yeny Nurantika Binti Abdullah, Farra Nurdayana Binti Johari, and Jia Wen. We are here today to present about oscilloscope. There is three questions that we need to answer, which is first, how does an oscilloscope works? Main differences between analog and digital oscilloscope. What is a PC-based oscilloscope? Advantage and disadvantage compared with digital oscilloscope. What is oscilloscope? An oscilloscope is a device that displays electrical signal graphically and shows how the signals evolve over the time. Engineers will utilize the oscilloscope to quickly test, verify and debug the circuit designs by measuring electrical events. An oscilloscope main purpose is to measure voltage waveform. There are two types of oscilloscope, which is analog oscilloscope and digital oscilloscope.
How does an oscilloscope work? Different types of oscilloscope works with different working principle. For the analog and digital oscilloscope device, the journey of the signal transfer is by referring in this figure. First one is analog oscilloscope and the second one is digital oscilloscope. Analog oscilloscope. An attenuator reduces the signal voltage or an amplifier increases the signal voltage. The signal travels directly to the vertical deflection plates of the cathode ray tube (CRT). Voltage applied to these deflection plates causes a glowing dot to move. An electron beam hitting phosphor inside the CRT creates the glowing dot. A positive voltage causes the dot to move up while a negative voltage causes the dot to move down. The signal also travels to the trigger system to start or trigger a horizontal sweep. Triggering the horizontal system causes the horizontal time base to move the glowing dot across the screen from left to right within a specific time interval. The horizontal sweeping action and the vertical deflection action traces a graph of the signal on the screen. The trigger is necessary to stabilize a repeating signal. For digital oscilloscope, when attach a digital oscilloscope probe to a circuit, the vertical system adjusts the amplitude of the signal. The analog to digital converter (ADC) in the acquisition system samples the signal at discrete points in time and convert the signal's voltage at these points to digital values called sample points. The horizontal system sample clock determines how often the ADC takes a sample. The sample points from the ADC are stored in memory as waveform points. The waveform points make up one waveform record. The trigger system determines the start and stop points of the record. The display receives these record points after being stored in memory.
The main difference between analog and digital oscilloscope is analog oscilloscope device, the waveform signal will be shown in the original form, while the digital oscilloscope device will convert the original analog waveform signal by sampling it and converts the signal into digital numbers and then we store it in digital format.
I'm Jia Wen, and now I'm going to explain about what is a PC-based oscilloscope and discuss their advantages and disadvantages compared with the digital oscilloscope. So what is a PC-based oscilloscope? PC-based oscilloscope, also called as PCO, is an oscilloscope which links via the USB to a PC, and the diagram below is a PCO. The PCO creates a graph that represents how much impulses vary over a specific period of time, and it provides information regarding with the actual frequency of signal, voltage figures, together with the duration and the exact amount of AC versus DC. Unlike traditional oscilloscope, a PC-based oscilloscope derives power from the USB linked to the computer. So what is the advantages and disadvantages of PCO compared with the digital oscilloscope? For the advantages of the PCO, it is easy to set up and use. Because PCO use a USB interface means that connecting the PC and the scope together is particularly easy. And normally, the software used with the scope is also designed to be very easy to implement. And for the most PCs, whether a laptop or a desktop, will have a good size screen, making the waveform signal to be easy to see. And it is portable for the PC-based oscilloscope. The USB oscilloscopes, also called as PCO, are very much smaller than the dedicated oscilloscopes. And for field service, many engineers will already carry a laptop. So the fact that the PC-based oscilloscope is much smaller than the dedicated oscilloscopes, it provides a real advantages. And by using the PC with the processing power, screen and power supply from the PC, it will help engineers to save cost and the space. And for the PC-based oscilloscope, the performance is improving all the time. So for the disadvantage of the PC-based oscilloscope is that it requires a PC. Without the PC, it can't be worked. And besides, power supply and the electromagnetic noise from PC circuits, which requires careful and intensive shielding to obtain good low-level signal resolution. And for the data transfer rates to the PC, which are dependent upon the connection method, and this affect the maximum sampling speed achievable by the PCO when streaming. And the PC-based oscilloscope needs for the owner to be install the oscilloscope software to the PC, which may not be compatible with the current release of PC operating system. And the time for the PC to boot is longer also. And these are the references that we have used for the oscilloscope research. And that's all for our presentation. Thanks for listening.